So I got the Starch Solution. I know it's backwards. I guess there is no way to fix that on my computer camera, but oh well. I think you all know what the Starch Solution looks like. It looks like this, only the other way around. So I was so excited to find this book. When I originally looked for it in our bookstore, which is like Chapters, Indigo, it's pretty much all the same thing. They had it on their website, but they weren't in any of the local locations. And by local, I mean not only where I'm living, but also in the city, because I go there quite a bit to visit. They didn't have them there either. But when I went last time, I found the book, and I was so excited. I've read pretty much all the book. This little bit is what's left, but all of the content of the book has been read. These are recipes, which actually start from this bookmark and go to, like, I mean, there's 100 of them that go this far. And then this bit is like the bibliography and all of the footnotes, or the end notes and the resources, that kind of thing. So basically the book is divided into 3 parts. It's divided into part 1, which is healing with starch, part 2, which is about the FAQs, and then part 3, living the solution, and the recipes are included in there. So I haven't made any of the recipes, or I've looked through them yet, but everything else right up to page 220 I have read, which is all of the content minus the recipes. So yeah, I definitely, I mean, I'm qualified to give a review on this, in my opinion, because I'm not reviewing the recipes. I'm not doing a cookbook recipe. They're a cookbook recipe review. You know what I mean. Anyway, so yeah, basically, when I first came when I first realized who Dr. McDougall was, and like the Starch Solution and stuff, I was just starting to get into vegan YouTube videos, and I just happened to come across him by chance, and I started watching his lectures and stuff like that, which is pretty much a summary of the book. If you watch the lecture, you pretty much get a good handle of what's already in the book, which is great. I'm glad the lectures are so thorough like that. I mean, of course, there's more in the book. There's resources. There's more really narrow facts in the book that he wouldn't have time to go over in the lectures, but essentially it's laid out the exact same way. And like he just talks about like the history behind eating starches, and which the same way he does in the lectures, about even going back as far as our hunter-gatherer ancestors, and then all of the cultures that actually thrived on starches. We didn't thrive as hunter-gatherers, we thrived as starch eaters. And but even hunter-gatherers ate starch, as you will know if you read the book or look up any of the studies that actually show that. Oh, and then like the FAQs, it's actually the FAQs about food, and it goes into things such as protein and calcium, omega-3s in fish, and then it talks about giving up. Not all soy, like tofu is okay in moderation, but he talks about giving up like isolated soy protein, and reading that chapter actually really opened my eyes to a lot of things, because I think a lot of what I eat of the vegan junk food kind of thing actually does have isolated soy protein in it. And now I understand why that's such a bad thing, and I'll probably avoid those from now on. I will most definitely avoid those from now on, except for maybe the occasional treat. Then, what else was I going to say? I mean, I just want to go over the entire book, but I can't. one thing that I really, really liked about the book is that it is full of studies, like everything he says, because I've read books before where it's just kind of like an opinion, and they'll say something, but they have nothing to back it up. And sometimes that opinion is right and and founded in scientific fact, and sometimes it is not. Sometimes it's just an opinion. And pretty much everything he says, I mean, the resources in here, well, that's the index, but like, I mean, the resources in here are just, they just keep going. I mean, he has so many resources that, I mean, you don't believe him? Well, go to the resources and see what the resources say. And like all of the scientific studies that he uses, they're I mean, there are some older ones that he keeps going back to, like the older potato diet one that he brings up, but he uses the most up-to-date stuff he can find. Now, this book was written in 2011, so a lot of the studies he uses are taken from the first decade of the 2000s, since this book is not from the middle of this decade, it's from the beginning of this decade. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the scientific background that he chooses to use in this. So, I had another thought, and I'm trying to pull it back here, but, like, I guess one of the things that I find about some of the other current vegan diets out there, and like I said in my last video, I'm not tearing down any vegan ways of life. As long as you're vegan, I couldn't care less what you do. But to me, this is very scientifically logical. And I find like a lot of the other high carb, low fat, which is what I am drawn to, a lot of those diets aren't founded in science. They're founded in, well, this worked for me, so this is what I preach. But there's no like scientific evidence to support them. And if you took, say, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people, for example, I mean, would thrive on it. But if you took a group of, say, 1,000 people, maybe the majority would not. The majority maybe would thrive on this. Anyway, whether or not that's the case, the science in this really seems logical to me. Everything he says, he has an answer for, and he backs it up with a study, with a research study. So, to me, it makes a lot of sense. I really do think that we are technically starchivores. So that's the plant-based diet that I'm going to take. So veganism aside, I'm an ethical vegan, but just plant-based for my health. It's going to be the Starch Solution that I'm going to take. I am still very much struggling with binge eating, very much. So I'm really trying to fight that. As you know from, if you've watched my last, well, like 2 videos ago, I am making some big life changes, and I want one of those changes to really start overcoming this eating disorder that I have. It is an eating disorder, and it's really impacting me. It's an addiction. It's just, I mean, it impacts me just as much as anorexia would on somebody else. And I mean, it's mental, it's physical, it has all kinds of impacts on me, and I really do want to overcome it. He does touch on compulsive, he calls it compulsive overeating, just a little bit in the book, and he says that some people have just been able to overcome it by eating the Starch Solution. I'm kind of hoping that's the case. I haven't overcome anything yet, but I haven't followed anything to the letter yet, so that could be why. What I like about the Starch Solution is, I guess, the foods that he limits are already ones that I generally limit anyway, so like the meat, dairy, eggs, all of the animal products I limit, and the oils I try to limit. Now, some of the vegan junk food I consume has been cooked in the oil, but I don't actually add it to the pan or anything that I'm cooking when I'm making my own food. Binges are different. Yeah, I am trying to stay away from all of that kind of stuff. And, I kind of lost my train of thought, but that happens a lot. what do they call that? Like brain fog or something like that. I still have that quite a bit, but that's probably because I'm not really technically healthy yet. But anyway, yeah, I also I like the idea that he limits the processed foods. He limits the processed soy, but allows moderation of like tofu and stuff. And I also like the way that he permits some fats, but in moderation. So I know there's this version, and he does talk about it a little bit in the book, like the version for maximum weight loss with just like an adjusted version of the starch solution. I actually don't think I'm going to follow that because it doesn't seem as satisfying as the regular starch solution. And the regular starch solution should work anyway. So I think I'm just going to follow the regular version. I'm going to do my very best to stay on track. If I have a binge, I'll just, I'm going to try and overcome it, but I'm not going to let one step back ruin the entire journey. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Another channel that I'm also really liking is Earthling Nutrition. I don't think she's more whole food plant-based. She was doing fruit after 4. She's not really supporting that as much as she was. One thing that I really like about her channel is that and most of, or well, I won't say most, but a lot of the other vegan channels on here that are supporting a certain vegan diet or plant-based version of a vegan diet, they're not backing anything up with science. And if somebody kind of points out like a scientific flaw in their way of looking at things, they're not looking into the science and then changing their opinion if they need to. Like I said, some people thrive on different things, and but still, I mean, science is important, not just personal experience. So, I really like her channel. I mean, I am going to be following the Starch Solution, but I'm getting a lot of really helpful ideas off Earthland Nutrition. So if you haven't checked out her channel, I would suggest that you do it now. She's a lot more popular than me on YouTube, so you may already know who she is. But anyway, I'm really looking into that because I just like the fact that she changes her mind when she realizes she's wrong. So, or when she realizes that science doesn't support what she originally thought. So, yeah, I mean, definitely following the Starch Solution, but getting a lot of inspiration from that channel as well. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Technically, it was a review slash what I plan on doing in the future. And I'm really hoping that we're going to see some weight loss in the coming months because I've been stabilized. I haven't really gained a whole lot, but I've been completely stabilized for a few weeks now, pretty much since my last update. And I'm kind of sick of it. And it's not the fault of any vegan diet because I've pretty much been a vegan junk food eater. Not wanting to be, like, I'll eat, like, I've been eating a lot of junk with a lot of binges, and I think it's because I've been extra stressed this last little bit, and really, really depressed in the past few weeks, so, I'm trying to let these big changes kind of, push me forward, get me out of this rut that I'm in, and hopefully I can start moving my life forward, because I feel like I'm kind of stuck, in space right now. Just, I'm not moving forward, and I really want to get my life going. I mean, I'm 31, I want to start being happy, being healthy. I'm never going to be happy unless I'm healthy. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, hopefully this can help. I am just so excited that I got the Starch Solution. I really see it as step 1 towards, my next goal, my next step forward. I would recommend anybody to read the Starch Solution if you're interested in plant-based eating or your health. He talks about all kinds of different diseases and disorders that are impacted by the way of eating, of course with the science backing it up, and how you can overcome those. So, I mean, having so much weight to lose, I definitely have a lot of health problems that, aren't quite severe yet, but they will be in less than a decade if I don't take care of them now. And his book really gives me hope that, if I follow what he says without the binges, like if I can overcome that, and so if I follow what he says without cheating, then you know, I really can be healthy. I really can fight this. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Starch Solution because I was so happy that I bought the book. It was excellent. I will reread it again and again. I know I will. So, all right, you guys have a great day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.